coming to reform, and you've seen one or two of those on the stage here and in Wales over the course of the last few weeks. But I think generally out there, I think there is grave concern, particularly amongst mothers, about their teenagers, whether they can let them out. So yes, I think this is perhaps this issue has spoken a truth to people that they've been feeling increasingly for some time, and I think that maybe changes the complexion of how people view reform. You know, the sort of, when I came back into this last June, people regarded it as being a bit of a blokish party, something to do with my reputation. I can't quite think why, but I think that's changing, and changing very rapidly, and this campaign is very much a part of that. Anna Gross, Financial Times.
I'll do it without this.
All right.
Have you received any communications from JD Vance or other members of the US administration saying they support your policy of repealing the Online Safety Act? And a second, if I may, will all reform-led councils block the use of HMOs to accommodate asylum seekers? Is that already a policy? Is it something that you're starting to do?
Yes, we were absolutely, all those councillors, all those nearly 700 councillors that were elected back on May the 1st this year, absolutely. And it's quite a debate, isn't it? Because whilst it's the hotels that have the visibility, and that's where the protests happen, in some ways the HMOs are even worse than the hotels, because you're
next door, they're over the road, you don't know where they are. And this is the problem, is that in Warwickshire, in the north of the county where I'm from, Nuneaton, Bedworth, we don't have a Margaret Hotel, but we've got loads of HMOs that are increasingly popping up. But in the south of the county, there's loads of Margaret Hotels. People have had enough. You know, like I said during the campaign, we have three things in Warwickshire reform: honesty, integrity and transparency. And when this come across my desk, I couldn't break away from my instincts. Transparency is the key to this. If you keep on and tell the people the truth, they understand and they know what to work with. This is the point. If we highlight them all, people can understand. The Home Office are telling Warwickshire Chief Constable, telling Warwickshire County Council, oh, we're not going to tell you where all the HMOs are. We're not going to tell you. We don't know where they are. That's dangerous. That's against safeguarding. As the Children and Family Portfolio holder, that's a huge problem for the children in Warwickshire. It's about safety. It's simple.
Yeah, and it's actually worth you talking to Sarah Pochin. One of the big elements that came out of the Runcorn by-election was the HMO issue. Who said, well, there's a house here and 10 or 15 people from a completely different culture have been put in this house, and they say they've been following our kids to school, and we're very, very scared. I recommend that you talk to her. As for the JD Vance, I can't remember the answer to that. Oliver Harris, Politics UK.
Thank you. Good morning. Some 500,000 people have signed a parliamentary petition calling for the government to repeal the Online Safety Act. I wonder, one, what are your thoughts on that? And two, could you see any instrumental benefits of the Act in its current form, if any? I'm
going to call Zia Yusuf up to the platform. He has spent more time researching this and getting acquainted with this than probably most people in governmental positions.
Thanks, Nigel. Can we see any instrumental benefits within the Act? A few. Look, it's an Act of around 200 pages, and this is why Reform made the decision, Nigel made the decision that when he's the Prime Minister, we will have to repeal it, because the vast, vast majority of the Act are A, irrelevant to protecting children, B, unfit for purpose, and as Nigel's already articulated, in some cases actually do detriment to safety of children online. Let's talk firstly about the overreach, which Nigel alluded to earlier. Even if you were to be kind and say none of this was intentional, and the intention of the bill all along was to protect children, in the end you have to judge legislation by the outcomes that it delivers. The Act has been in force now for about a week or so. Look at the things that have been censored as a result of it. You've seen protests at migrant hotels in Leeds censored on social media. You've seen people trying to log into their Spotify accounts being unable to do so. Kids literally, this is true, trying to change the settings on their NVIDIA graphics cards being prevented from doing so. You've had, as Nigel said, historical accounts and biographies of Richard the Lionheart